those SMSs coming in. Also, we love the tweet pics, the videos as well at K24 TV. But we also have feedback as far as the newspaper review is concerned.
Right. So let's start with Facebook, because that is where a lot of people are also texting. We have Punguza Mzigo. So the Punguza Mzigo initiative is a good one. I don't know why some politicians are against it. Well, everyone wants to have a little bit of Mzigo Punguza, right? So another one talking about Punguza Mzigo and the BBI team have some things in common, and they should sit back down and agree for the betterment of Kenya. Absolutely agree with you on that. Then we also have someone else saying, let Kenyans not be fooled. The Punguza Mzigo initiative is for the good of the common mwananchi. Totally agree with that. As long as theoretically it makes sense and also practically it makes sense. There's someone else saying, I will not be surprised that this initiative is sponsored by a top politician. All right, but aren't they all sponsored by a top politician? Then we have the Building Bridges initiative and Punguza Mzigo should be harmonized. None can be discarded. The harmony must be done by a non-partisan, independent and highly informed person. Theoretically, again, I'll say that makes sense. However, practically, things get a little bit tricky. We also have people of Kenya knows what is right. So I would like to tell politicians that there is no need of campaigning for the constitutional amendments, in that some are of Punguza Mzigo while some are of BBI. All right, this the last Facebook post. I think the two documents, Punguza Mzigo and BBI, should be merged. Any contentious issues raised on either document should be discussed so that we have one all-inclusive document. Let's have a constitution. You know what? At the end of the day, as long as we have two sides of the divide, we shall always have two sides to every coin, two sides to every story. And at that particular point, Jeff Mote, over to you.
Asante sana. As always, keep those tweets coming in. We love your feedback at K24 TV. Of course, you can also SMS us on 21222. Back to the big stories of the day. This time round, the Daily Nation's front page. Tough queries Sonko faces over city tenders. Mr. Sonko arrived at Integrity Center early in the morning and left in the evening, but said he was questioned for 2 hours. Now, the interrogation centered on concerns raised by the Environment Committee about firms that got tenders without proper qualification. Speaker Elachi, what is going on in this particular point? Because the governor spent hours, and the queries are on contracts awarded to 13 companies, huge amounts of money being dished out right here. Some of them only being made into companies and being formally registered a couple of days before being awarded this particular tender. What's going on in the House?
Well, I think first of all, when you look at garbage collection in this country, is a place where you have, first of all, so many cartels. That is why we've been unable up to today to deal with Dandora. Yes. So first, it is a docket that has a lot of interest. Let's start from there. And in terms of the interrogations, I think all governors have been going to EACC. So for me, like any other governor, I believe governor has to go and answer the questions. And then from there, he needs to now check from his officers what really happened. Is it the companies that were there? Because I know, as I said, a lot of interest. It means some of the companies that were removed will feel disgruntled and will follow up to follow these other ones. So it's an interest docket that needs a lot of, what will I say? For me, if I was asked, you cancel everything completely and you start afresh this process. Then you go to this Dandora, where every company has come, even during Kidero's time. This was the biggest challenge of Kidero, garbage collection. And the interest, and people saying, you owe us $1 billion, you owe us $2 billion, and you even wonder. So now when you're collecting this garbage, by the time you're being owed $2 billion, really, how do you come and how are people paying even this garbage? So that who collects the money? So it has a lot of
very many questions as
loopholes to where people play around. You won't even know whether indeed the garbage they are saying they have collected is true. So for me, you will end up in such a scenario. So it depends on how the companies who are removed and the new ones are also playing in the game of politics in it.
Okay, Mr. Omanga, as Speaker Alachi is talking about it, is a solution to just clean house, start from a clean slate, just to get new players on board as far as Nairobi City County, of course, the Nairobi County garbage collection is concerned, rather?
I think Kenyans must know that the biggest cartels are in the garbage collection. I had acted for a certain international company that wanted to do garbage into Kibera slum, the Dandora, and it was funded by African Development Bank. Imagine even up to that level. There are those who will tell you that if this thing must go through, then you must do it with such a company. It's the one that we are comfortable in paying. Right. So from that alone, you have already been told that it is so and so. And you see even the challenges the former governor had was about the issue of garbage. Because you could not, they sabotage you, they ensure the garbages are all over the street so that you can add more money, more companies can be recruited, so that they tell one company is not enough. Because if we have a serious company, and it goes into the procurement processes, let us always ensure that we religiously adhere to the procurement laws. Let us not interfere, because as a governor, definitely somebody would want to drop names. Oh, this company is associated with the governor, or I know so and so. Then they go and mess up the procurement process. There is no starting from a clear slate. If indeed there is reasons to believe that those who are awarded, because if the new governor came in, then he sacked all the previous garbage collectors, then he should have, from that point is when he should have told us, okay, this such a company was not properly procured based on this, but such a company was procured legally. Therefore, this one remains, but let us get others. But if you see now the first biggest scandal is in garbage, it can tell you the way Nairobi City Council is big with all those billions of shillings. Now the first starts in garbage. So I can tell you that if you want to see the biggest cartels, and we will request DCI, let them also move in to see this issue of garbage collection. We had a good proposal on how to deal with the Dandora dump site. Countries like Denmark, countries like Germany, garbage is a huge asset, a huge industry, a huge company generating energy, generating work, and employing people. The Dandora dump site, where we have a lot of rogue thugs, the hardcore criminals hiding around that place, should be transformed into a serious company where all Nairobians and even other counties can be supplying even gas to this kind of out of this garbage. So therefore, I would request, let the DCI move in speed, and if indeed there is any irregularity, let the Nairobi City County government disband all, send away all those garbage collection companies. Let us procure a public procurement process where every company is interrogated, they do due diligence on them. Are they briefcase companies? Are they associated with any politicians? So that we avoid this issue up until want to trade with the company or an office where they work. Okay, Mr. Bosiri, on this one as well. It seems like this elusive promise that every leader gives, you'll have a cleaner city. When I get in, you shall have a cleaner city. But they get in, and it's the same problem they're all facing.
And the garbage thing is a money minter. For Nairobi, that two-thirds of Nairobi sits in a garbage. So everybody wants to make money out of it. It's the dime that rules. So for me, what I'll say that Governor Sonko came in with a mantra that saying, I will run a transparent system. He should live to that edict. The promise that I will not let Nairobians down. But when we see him going back to the DCI, and it's interesting that you go there, they ask you questions for 2 hours. The rest of it is just whirling away the afternoon. Right. Must be some 5-star place. Eh?
Right.
Because
the accommodation.
Accommodation, just go there. I'd like to go there for an hour and spend the rest of. But the thing is, Sonko and the rest of the systems and all other governors, they come in like all other politicians. They come in, I have my people to give. Your people who support you through the process of political process to election, they expect something in return. And you're going to subvert processes so that you are able to give them something. No? And all of them are caught up in this kind of thing. But Nairobi, as it is, the garbage problem has never been sorted out because they have not sorted it out because that's where the money is made.
Right.
And they will continue making the money from there. And like I said, the evil spirit in this country is the political spirit. It catches all of us, but the guys with good intentions.
Okay,
It will catch up with them.
And that's the lead story in your copy of the Daily Nation. Because of time, we'll have to move quickly along because we still have another paper to look at. But quickly finish up with the Daily Nation's back page. From Matters County to the country at large, Kenya's push to have case withdrawn fails. Now, this is due to the disputed Kenya-Somali maritime border. They wanted to have an alternative dispute mechanism put in place. Somalia has since rejected that request and said they will not be party to that mechanism at the AU. Yesterday evening, they also spoke about the fact that now they might need more time to have their case at the ICJ so that they can recruit a defense team. Are we now panicking that once this gets to the ICJ, that disputed area that we're talking about might go to Somalia, because this is really last-minute defense? This case starts next week. Where do we start? Bwana Omanga, please just give us some light on how we move forward as a country.
I think our row with the Somalia over the disputed area is something that we really need to take seriously. Kenya has sacrificed a lot for peace and stability in Somalia. We have spent billions and billions of US dollars in ensuring that our security men and women are in Juba, are in Somali. So it is important to understand when did this dispute start? And what should be the best process out of it? The law allows for alternative dispute. But if Somalia, if you are in dispute, we must avoid hardline positions. Even us as a country, we must not even imagine, as other politicians had suggested earlier, that we declare war or we do what. Let us see how best, if the Attorney General want to recruit more defense team, they have the opportunity, the ICJ should allow them, so that we postpone the hearing, so that we get the best defense team, and let Somalia not try to push us into a corner. That when you want to do this alternative process, they say no, we will not be a party to that. And you saw even the diplomatic standoff that we had with them, where Ambassador, the High Commission being returned back to Somalia, not allowed into the country. Those are some of the things that bring bitterness. Okay. So as a country, and even our foreign affairs CS, he must lead from the front and ensure that we avoid these small things like diplomatic standoffs, and then at the same time we are in the ICJ of a disputed area in the ocean. And the more of interest is the oil, that the value of the oil that is there. If we don't really need war, we have a lot of other deposits of Lamu coast. If there is any issue, let us leave it, Okay. But let us allow the legal process at the ICJ to live into its fullness of its meaning, so that Kenyans or the world must know who is on the wrong side.
Speaker Lachi, are we almost past that point where we can actually sit down as brothers at a table and discuss this amicably? Because it seems like the Somali standpoint is really hardline. We're not going to sit, we're not going to talk.
Well,
to court.
You're dealing with a country where people have that character of being very stubborn. It starts from there. That is why their country went 21, 22, 27 years, 30 without nothing. Let's start from there. But I will also want to ask the Foreign Affairs, when we started this case, they knew we will end up like this. Right. I mean, you can never have a brother that you don't know a character. Yes, and therefore, we cannot be now, is when now you realize you need to bring in a new team. No, you're letting us down now. Here is where I always say now, something is not right from the beginning. And I'm hoping we didn't have Kenyans who played this game in the beginning. Because here, in the end, you'll find it is Kenyans who played this game of changing even these things. And now you put our president into a very awkward situation where he has to start now looking of mechanisms. I believe the president would wish the mechanisms of an alternate, because he knows. And I want to tell Somalia, you know very well, we are so close to each other. We are like brothers. There are many other issues that we have to work together. But now if you move the way they are moving, yes, as a country, we also have to protect. This is when I always say, now you become a Trump. You become a realist and say, my country, Kenya, must be protected. And you look at not just this. As you play this game, we can play other games. And it's good to say, because this is where Kenya, this thing of we want to be. And then now the whole world will come landing on us. But right now the world is now feeling Somalia is doing right. After putting all those years, sustaining, trying to take care of their brothers, using Kenya to make sure you move to other countries, even up to date, and then you do this. No.
Bosire, coming on this one as well, because some people are looking at this as a legal tactic in the sense that they did have the defense, but now just to buy more time, let us say we need a new defense, get a bit more time and see if we can sort this out before it gets to the court.
True. Apparently, like Speaker Elaji says, we slept on the job. Like usual, we never fully assert ourselves to issues that are serious. But I think right from the word go, that must have been Professor Githu's position. This was his time as a legal professional to put the best defense right from the beginning. The resources that you invest into a conflict or a situation will determine the outcome. We didn't invest enough.
Right.
That's why we are bungling around. Two, I think the problem, like any other mineral-rich, resource-rich parts of Africa, we are victims of international players. This is a bigger geopolitical resource scramble kind of structure that is playing out itself in Somalia. And we are getting caught up in it. Our neighborliness, the people who are playing us are somewhere else. That the people who sparked off this problem, like where the president of Somalia is one guy that everybody else, the difference between Kenya and Somalia has always been the same, that we are brothers and sisters. But the people elsewhere who want resources, look at the DRC, the part where there's mineral rich, there's always instability for people to come in.
Okay.
Somalia is where there are resources. This is, and the main problem here, what is killing us, what is going to kill our neighborliness, is the resources that people want to exploit from that region.
Okay.
And that's why we must go back and ask ourselves, do we need this oil so that we do not become, we destroy ourselves? Because true as it is, even if Somalia took that part, they're going to fall into another conflict.
Oh, yeah.
Right, of course. And that's a story that you can get on the
And
back
that
page
is
of the
what
Daily
we need
Nation.
to be saying.
Okay.
Put the border. They told us they were putting borders. Have the defense team finished putting these borders? Because, by the way, Kenya has really suffered because of Somalia.
Yes.
Terrorism, I don't know what. And then you bring us into this? No, you should tell the
Lachi.
President that this is wrong.
Okay, Lachi.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a story that you can get on the back page of your Daily Nation. Quickly, look at the Star, front page of the Star. Why Mariga could be out of Kibra race. Nomination loser says ticket was issued unfairly. Tuju confirms an appeal has been filed against the ex-footballer right there. Yesterday, we got an interesting tweet from one of our viewers, Kevin, who spoke about the fact that his view as a resident of Kibra is the fact that Mariga will lose because he's a politician made in a boardroom. After the interviews that took place, we were told he got 500 out of 600 marks on that particular one, but on the ground, it's a different story. And now, as we can see, a day after being given that particular ticket, already his nomination in question right now. Speaker Elachi,
Yes.
some people saying that it's a bigger thing. People are looking at this as people testing might for 2022 and Kibra being the laboratory, so to speak, the test tube for this.
Well, I want to be very honest on this one. Because Mariga is my brother from home.
Right.
Yeah? And sometimes we do big mistakes without understanding the situations you're going in. If it was an election of 2022, I would have given Mariga a go-ahead, because it is an election where everyone is moving into an election. This is a by-election. It's a very interesting scenario. Now, when you believe, because for me, I know as a politician, you think, oh, because I have the name, which is true. You have the name as Mariga, people know you as a footballer. But now when you go down to the Kibera person, even the Luya, I'm now saying as an example, Beatrice Elachi, who vied in the Dagoretti North, and who got the 36,000 votes, yes, but there was one thing I was told by my community every day I walked into that election. In Kiluya, and I want to say it in Kiluya to him, they will go and they will tell you, Chupilita away, and it is in them. And even now, it is still in them. So they'll be telling you, you are a good candidate, but Chupilita away. And he will face that. I want to tell him, this is Nairobi. He's going to face it, and it will be very sad. Because you are young, you know very well, you have what will I say? When I look at him, he is a person who will go far, but in a better way than the way now he wants to come in Kibra, because the Luyas of my Kibra, who are my community, they have one thing, and not just them. They always believe, are you just coming because you've understood they are Luyas? Or you are coming understanding our challenges. You are coming to know we have these problems. And have you been with us? By the way, they look at that. Have you walked a journey with us in our problems in Kibra? Or this is the right now? Because they elected Okoth. They are the majority there. They elected Okoth. Why? Because Okoth had lived with them. Okoth knew their problems and everything. So if somebody has told you, go there because they are 36,000 Luyas, CG what? No.
Bosire, I'll bring you in on this one as well. Ever since the first disputed list came out of the people who are supposed to vie for this nomination, lots of questions were asked, concerning Jubilee and their, even the fact that they actually even had somebody who was vying for this seat, because from the beginning we thought Jubilee wouldn't have a candidate there. Is Mariga fighting a losing battle?
I think Mariga is going to be a victim of what we call intra-Jubilee wars.
Yeah.
He's caught up in a situation, and the same Jubilee is going to be used to, a faction of Jubilee will be used to cannibalize him, and it has already begun. So Jubilee had to be honest that they have an issue which they can't sort out on their own. They want to use a young man and make a sacrifice of him. The truth is, like Speaker Elijah said, there is a feeling in Kibra that when Ken Okoth served them, he was one of their own, he understood them. This planting and supplanting of candidates, it's all because of the political egos that are seizing themselves for the 2022 thing. And it will be very, very unfortunate that Mariga is going to get hurt in this thing. But and they're going to use technical things to sacrifice the young man. And the politics, like I said, that rules us all over the place, and we struggle with everything else, is what is killing this country. We must begin to sanitize this. You can't play an ethnic card in Kibera.
Mr. Manga, let me bring in on this as well, because part of the reason that this is being brought into dispute in terms of his ticket is that they're saying he's not a registered voter on this particular one. And if indeed so, and if it is indeed actually going to the appeal on this particular one, during the interview, shouldn't that have been probably the first question after your name? Are you a registered voter?
I think it would be wrong to say that Mariga is not a registered voter. Jubilee as a party, even during that interview process, technically if he's not a registered voter, then he should not be eligible. So one thing I want to believe that he's a registered voter. If you look at that story, what they are saying is that he has never voted or he's not a registered voter in Kibera. You don't have to be a registered voter in Kibera. You saw Edwin Sifuna vied in Kandui, then came back to Nairobi and ran for senatorial. And even Waititu left Mbakasi and went to Kabete. So the question that somebody is not a registered voter in Kibera, the law allows, so long as you are a registered voter, you are eligible to run for any political seat you want. And one thing, this is the politics that we start to sensationalize. As Bosire was saying that he will be a victim of intra-Jubilee wars, I want to believe, because if you see that the headline, now they put the picture of Mariga and William Samoei Ruto. William Samoei Ruto is the not party leader of Jubilee. Mariga is vying on Jubilee ticket. Why would you now relate that it is because there are some pictures circulating in media, social media, when he met DP Ruto a long time ago when they didn't even know Ken Okoth would die. So why try to link that is being fronted by Ruto? Let us deal with the real issues. Every Kenyans are registered voter has a right to vie. So let us not vilify Mariga. He has a right as a Kenyan. But more importantly, Kibra by-election would be a very interesting one. Depending on how each and every party is conducting its nomination process, even the ODM, the way they will come up, arrive at their candidate will also determine whether it will be an easy ride for them or it will be a landfall for other parties. Because we see now Amani National Congress now as former Raila Edeliudo Walo. You can't write him off. You can't even write off the Jubilee candidate if he will be Mariga. unclear because now the matter is in appeal tribunal of the Jubilee Party. We do not know what the appeal will rule. If the appeal will give him a clean slate to go and run, again, you cannot also still rule out the Jubilee Party. Because now, with the handshake thing, I had a very interesting conversation over the weekend. Very briefly in 2 seconds. They are saying, you know, now you cannot say this is an ODM zone, you know, now we are one as a country, so we do not really look at candidates based on which party, Jubilee, ODM or what. We look at an individual as a candidate with this ability to lead and how best he or she understands the plight and the needs of the people, as Speaker Elachi has said.
We'll leave it at that as far as the newspaper review is concerned. Mr. Bosire from the People Daily, thank you so much for making time to go through the dailies with us. Mr. Charles Omanga, of course, advocate of the High Court, thank you for taking your time and your views.